What's going on, Variant Nation, and Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year, happy holiday. I hope everyone had a very good Christmas, a healthy one, a happy one, a fun one, all the above.
That's right. This is our first show of 2021. However, we are recording this in 2020.
That is true, because
so we're still in 2020 while you're hearing this in 2021, everybody.
Yeah, that is true, because we are trying to get ahead, that make sure that they all have content while we are on Christmas break, because believe it or not, we like to take breaks too.
That's right. For all of you who don't know, the entire production team over at here at Triune Films, we all give everybody the last 2 weeks of the year off to spend with their families and just enjoy the holidays the best that we can after a very long, hard year of work. So 2020 was an extra special year.
Oh my God.
Of hard and difficult. So everybody's taking the traditional 2 weeks and going to enjoy a nice break. So
it's actually like a little more than 2 weeks, right? It's like what, 16 days, something like that.
Yeah, it's about 16. So it varies year to year, but it ends up being roughly 2 weeks or a little over that sometimes. Yeah. So this is one of the years where it's a couple of days over. It's like 16 days, which of course everyone will appreciate. The extra
for sure. With this year, it's like take the month, everyone. Take January.
Yeah. So long story short, we are pre-recording this episode so that you guys have an episode coming back into the new year. We will be back in studio on January 4th, but that's not going to be enough time for us to get cranking. The first week we get into all of our new year planning and start prepping the first quarter and all that kind of stuff for content for all of you guys. So we are still in 2020, but we do have a pretty sweet episode for you guys to line up to start your 2021 right.
We do. Now, that obviously all this was to say happy holidays, and for those who are wondering, like, if some huge announcement was made, it's like, why are they talking about that? It's because this was recorded weeks ago. That's why.
Exactly.
This was from the past, so that's why we're not talking about relevant or current stuff, if any news has come out since recording this. But like you just said, Tim, we have a really fun episode either way. One of those evergreen episodes, as we call them, that is good for any time of the year. We just drop it whenever. And that is one your son actually came up with, which is choose your favorite comic book or fictional weapons.
That's right. We managed to find our way through it. And then next week, we will be jumping on the more relevant. Of course, King in Black is still cranking. Death Metal wraps up, and DC is launching Future State and all that kind of stuff. So we'll be jumping in all that next week. But this week, you guys, we are glad to present you with Choose Your Favorite Comic Book Weapon.
Ching, 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 explosions, fire, boom.
With that said, on to the episode.
What's up, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Variant the Podcast. I'm one of your co-hosts, Arris Quinones, with Tim Connolly.
What's going on, Variant Nation?
Yeah, today we have a fun one that was actually inspired by one of your sons.
That's right. Yeah, just like the last one when we did, if you could have any superpower, what would it be? This was the next round of my son coming up to me and going, "Hey, Dad, if you could have any weapon in all of fiction, what would it be?" And I went, well, there's another podcast.
Yeah, and there's today's episode, because it's like all those things you talk about comic shops, like growing up, with like your or just your friends in school and stuff like that. It's like, dude, if you could have any weapon, what would you be? You know what I mean? If you could have any power, what would you have, or all that stuff. So it's a very interesting one for sure. And it actually took me a while. Like, we both narrowed down our list. I don't know about you, but even though I picked my three, I'm still like, but I don't know, man. Because the thing with it is like, there's practical ones that would just be like, oh, if I have this, I could do anything. But then there's just like, but I just want, like, let's say, like, a lightsaber because it's freaking cool. Like, obviously, it can't do much besides cut through a lot of things, but it's freaking awesome. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, because again, this is in all of fiction too. We're not just talking about comic books, even though Star Wars has comic books, but it could be anything. So you could do like Harry Potter, you could do Star Wars, anything that is a fictional property, you could choose that weapon, and that's what we did.
That's right, yeah, because that's what made it interesting, I think, is taking it out of just the realm of comics and saying all of fiction. If you could have any, so it's kind of a choose your weapon in the world of fiction sort of an idea.
For sure.
So that opens up a lot of different possibilities. Now, for me, I ended up pretty much squarely in the world of comics anyway.
You did know all three of yours are in comic books. I was like, why are we opening it up if you're only going to do all three comic books?
But I have reasoning for it, and I'll get into my reasoning as to why that is, because I did have several things that I considered one of which is on your list, and others that aren't, that I ruled out for various reasons, and we can talk about that too.
Well, with that said, let me lead off then, so we could go right into what you're referring to, because that's my number 3 pick.
That's right.
Which would be the Elder Wand. That's right. Dumbledore's wand, the Elder Wand.
That's it.
Yeah. Now, I picked this one because, one, I love the Harry Potter franchise and world. And two, it's the Elder Wand. Like, it's the most powerful wand in the Harry Potter franchise. You know what I mean? Like, it's like the end all be all wand. And even from like, well, first and foremost, if you have the wand or you're able to use the wand, that just means you're like an awesome wizard, right? Because not anyone could just pick up the wand. So having the Elder Wand would also mean that I'm a freaking epic wizard. So I like that off the bat.
Yeah, without a doubt.
But also going with comic books and stuff like that, because again, this is like where everything's crossing over, where Dumbledore could like, cross over and meet Batman. Having the Elder Wand, that means I'm like this OP wizard. So theoretically, since characters like Superman are vulnerable to magic, me being like Dumbledore level power, having the Elder Wand could probably take on Superman, or bare minimum at least like hold him back. You know what I mean? Because he's vulnerable to magic.
I mean, potentially,
right? This is all potential.
Potentially, yeah.
But going off of magic being because again, he's not weak to magic. Everyone says he's like weak to it, like kryptonite. No, he's not weak. Superman is not weak to kryptonite. He's vulnerable to it, meaning it's something you could use against him. So if you wield it properly, it's something that could harm him.
Right.
But having the Elder Wand, I would be wielding it to perfection, Tim. So I would be a threat for Superman. Plus, I would never need a flashlight again. Lumos, you know what I'm saying? Just in my pocket. Right. I got a light with me. No, obviously my iPhone does that too, but it's not as cool as a wand.
See, I go like my reasoning for this. Like, this is about to get hardcore nerd right here. Okay, I'm about to get hardcore nerd on you. Like, I went deep into my thinking on this because I too thought about the Elder Wand, but I ruled it out because I said, first and foremost, it's not really a weapon. It's a power, like it's the most powerful wand, right? Because of how it was created, but it has to be wielded by a powerful sorcerer, a powerful wizard,
which in this case would be me,
right? But you first have to be an already powerful wizard. So I'm like, I'm choosing weapons that are just going to give me power, right? I'm not choosing things that I have to sit there and say, okay, well, I already have to have power for it to work at this, high level. I just want something that if I get my hands on it, it makes me powerful from there.
But if you get that technical, that means something like Mjolnir, you means you can't use it because you'd have to be worthy in order to use it. So first you would have to be worthy, and who's to say you're worthy?
That's not an ability. Like, you either are or you're not.
But how would you know if you're not? That's what I'm saying. You just can't pick it up.
You don't. The Mjolnir tells you.
Right, but if you pick it and then it's on the floor and you can't pick it up, then you're screwed.
I know, but that's why Mjolnir's not on my list, because I know I wouldn't be able to pick the thing up.
Wow. I don't want to chance it. It's like the sword and the stone. I don't know if I could do it.
That's right. I'm not going to risk that. Who knows? Who knows? It could go either way. Maybe I'm having a good day and I can pick the thing up. Most days, probably not.
Anyway, that is my number 3, because again, having the Elder Wand is just, seeing it throughout the Harry Potter books and movies and franchise, it's like the coolest wand ever. And plus, when you see Dumbledore fight Voldemort with the wand, it's just awesome. So it's like you said, it's like one of those things where it's like, it's not a weapon, but it kind of is, obviously, because that's how all wizards duel. Right. They don't pull out swords, they pull out their wands. So it's like one of those things where it has it's like a Swiss Army knife. It has multiple purposes. it could be whatever you need it to be.
Yeah.
So that would just be really cool to me. Plus, it's the Elder Wand. It's just the Elder Wand.
Yeah, that was the difficult part, because it just also kind of has the cool factor to it.
That's what I'm saying, right? Yeah,
it's fun, cool factor of like, it's the Elder Wand from the wizarding world.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you just pull it out. It's kind of like Excalibur in that sense, right? Where you pull it out and they're like, oh, that's Excalibur. You pull it out, they're like, that's the Elder Wand. It's like, because everyone knows that like that's the wand. It's the wand to rule them all.
Which actually is right in line with one of the other and probably bigger things that I thought about that I didn't put on my list, which is the Ring of Power from the Lord of the Rings.
Mm-hmm. That's a dope one. That's a dope one.
Yeah, that one was like, that was the first thing I thought of, quite frankly, when I was trying to formulate my list. But then I immediately went, but the Ring of Power, it has a will of its own and it corrupts. It, it turns
you went really thorough with this.
I told you I went full nerd on this thought process, because when my son came up and asked me, like most fathers, I think would have been like, "Oh, that's a fun idea, son. Like, what do you think?" Just been like all parental about it. I was like, wow, we need to really think about this.
I love
there's a lot of possibilities, but also there's some real dangers here, son, if you're not careful.
I love the contrast, how you're like, no, because you don't know if you'll be able to wield it because you're not a smart enough wizard yet. But in my brain, I'm just like, no, if I'm wielding this weapon, I'm automatically, like, this is a fictional world, so I'm automatically able to use it. Like, I could just use it because that's going to happen. I'm the writer of my own story.
Yeah, you're thinking like Donnie Cates, and I'm thinking like Jeff Johns.
Yeah, that's a good analogy.
So the Ring of Power didn't land on my list either. So but the Elder Wand I will give you for pure cool factor and fun factor. That's a solid number 3.
Right. So what's your number 3?
So my number 3 lands in it goes into, it's because I love, and this isn't going to surprise longtime listeners of the show, is the Eye of Agamotto.
Yes.
Doctor Strange's amulet. So that, on top of being, just an incredibly powerful artifact, the Eye of Truth, it gives you the all-revealing light. It also has been said to be kind of the embodiment of the multiverse on top of that. Mm-hmm. So the amount of cosmic and multi-dimensional powers and abilities that it wields in the hands of the bearer, it just gives you so many different possibilities, including the ability to, basically revert yourself to spirit form.
Yes.
And, travel around as, your spirit self. So, that's a pretty fun thing to be able to do,
Who doesn't want to be a ghost, essentially?
Yeah. I mean, just be able to, on top of being able to, reveal any kind of an illusion or, a lie. It'll expose any kind of a lie. It helps you battle demons and multi-dimensional monsters.
Right.
It gives you the ability to transverse in a multi-dimensional spiritual form. And, that just sounds like a lot of fun. It's kind of like having the power of flight.
Dude.
You know what I mean? It's like, it's one of those things. It's just like, who doesn't want to do that? I can pass through walls. I can go into the deepest parts of the government and find out everything we know about aliens.
It's interesting to me that you picked it, though, because like you said, with the Elder Wand, it's not really a weapon per se as it is an artifact. Like, yes, like the wand.
True.
It is like, it could be used as a weapon, and it often is, much like wands are. But it's not like a sword, like a hammer. It's kind of just a powerful artifact, but it's still kind of a weapon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's one of those weird things. It's like almost anything can be used as a weapon either way, so it doesn't matter. So
yeah, it's an amulet, so it very much is an artifact, but the bearer, and particularly the Sorcerer Supreme, does very much use it as a weapon.
For sure, right.
He uses it for all sorts of things to help him in battle and all kinds of stuff.
Hey man, if the Joker made a pencil a deadly weapon, I'm all for it.
And obviously the MCU dramatically changed and altered the Eye of Agamotto as well.
Yes.
And made it can alter and affect time. And at the center of it, it holds the time stone.
Yes, the green time stone in all of its glory.
That's right. So, and that was a fun change, I thought, but it was definitely a very large change, I will say.
Yes, for sure.
Because it definitely changed the nature of the eye itself. Because in the comics, it has a totally different origin and uses.
It served its purpose for, as far as the stones, like where another stone would be and stuff like that. So it makes sense. Like the Tesseract had one, aka the Cosmic Cube, all that stuff.
You can't knock what they did either, because the way it worked out in the movies was just epic.
Yes. We all know that scene in Infinity War where Doctor Strange is forced to give it to him. So good. There's
all of the options, the many times that he saw only one.
Only one.
Yes. So good by the end. But in the end, both of us chose and a wizard's
That is
weapon
true. Oh my God. Yeah, that is very true. Look at that.
as our number 3. Yeah,
look at us
that.
liking the mystic arts.
It's just mine's more powerful.
Speaking of which, this is
say that before now.
Huh?
It's just that mine's more powerful. That's all
Wow.
I'm gonna say.
Wow.
Yeah,
What's funny, another one that's not on my list before I get to number 2, I just want to bring it up briefly, is Dr. Fate's helmet, which is it's a helmet artifact, but I mean it gives you the power of Dr. Fate, like the power of Naboo, which is insane and arguably stronger than the Eye of Agamotto.
Yeah, I would have to say, because that literally you makes you the avatar of a god.
Yep. Yes. But you become like a prisoner in it though, Naboo like
Yeah.
controls you and he doesn't want to release you. So that's a whole thing, which is why I didn't pick it. So
Yeah, it's kind of like getting the Crimson Stone of the Sidorak.
yeah, you become his avatar, yep.
Yeah, exactly.
But number 2 for me, getting to number 2, this one this is pretty, I'm just going to say it. Aquaman's Trident. Aquaman's Trident is my number 2 because first and foremost, like if you have Aquaman's Trident, like if I have the Trident, that means now I control the Atlantean army. And the Atlantean army is the largest army on the planet, on all of Earth, because water, the majority of the Earth is water, is the ocean, is the sea. So
it's water.
Yeah, so that's for the longest time, people would always make fun of Aquaman and be like, oh, what are you going to do, talk to fish? It's like, no, you don't understand. Like Jeff Johns being the amazing writer he is, when he reintroduced Aquaman to New 52, was like, no, guys, I'm going to make everyone understand like how much of a threat Aquaman really is. Like this dude, if he wanted to, could literally all Noah style sink and flood the earth. Like he could just single-handedly, with a wave of his trident, destroy all of Earth and rule it, put it all underwater. So, that's one thing right there. I would already be.
It's a pretty solid selection, yeah.
Pretty right.
Yeah,
So just with having it, I have the largest army, behind me doing my bidding. But then on top of that, like you can control the weather with it, kind of like Thor style, like lightning storms and stuff like that. If you spin it really fast, it allows you to fly. It's bulletproof. You could toss. Like it's almost like. The possibilities are almost infinite with this thing, right? Like you basically become the all-powerful like god of the ocean, essentially. and it's just kind of cool too, because it would make me look like royalty, right? It's like I gotta try it.
Yeah,
like
you'd be like Jason Momoa.
Yeah, going back to Lord of the Rings, like just stomp it down. You shall not pass.
Yeah, right. Part the seas. Yeah.
But
yeah, we actually did an episode a while back called "Why Aquaman is Cooler Than You Think."
Yes,
and it dealt with a lot of those things where people, over the years, a lot of people have made fun of him as a character, as he talks to fish and all this kind of a thing. Mm-hmm. And he is, he's a bad dude, man. He like his abilities and what he does. That one instance. In comics where, he lifted Atlantis out of the ocean.
Yep.
He literally just picked up the whole bottom of the ocean, basically, and brought it onto land. His power is immense.
Dude, yeah, it's insane. And again, with it, you manipulate all water. You know what I mean? And it's strong enough. It pretty much, it's almost like adamantium, where it could basically cut through anything. It is so powerful, it cut Darkseid. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It can cut Darkseid. Yeah. You can shoot electric bolts from it, and like all this crazy. Oh, it can control weather, which I said, and even it could alter organic matter, which is insane too. So you're literally, it's easily. We've said it before. It was on our top 10 weapons in all of comics.
Yeah,
it is easily by far one of the most powerful weapons. Top 10 most powerful weapons in all of comic book, between Marvel, DC, IDW, Dark Horse. Everything, which is why it's my number 2, and I want it.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah, it's a solid one. I have to give you that one. It's a good choice. When you mentioned it, I was like, yeah, it's a good one.
Plus, if you played Injustice, which I know many of our listeners have, and I know you have, and obviously me. He does some awesome battle moves with it too. If you could wield it properly, like the way you could shank people is insane.
Yeah. In the hands of a hero, it grants some serious power.
Yeah,
That's a solid one.
We saw at the end of the Aquaman movie when Jason Momoa finally was able to retrieve it and become, Aquaman full on, how he was freaking fighting his brother with it, Ocean Master. Dude, the way he was spinning that thing and cutting things, so dope.
It really is. They did a pretty good job. Yeah, they did a pretty good job with that. I liked it. All right. Well, I'm gonna have to follow that up with something good.
Yeah, you're up.
So because that's a solid one. So my number 2, it go like because from here on I go to like some next level stuff.
Okay.
So my number 2 is the White Lantern ring.
Dude, that's like one of the most powerful weapons as well. It's what you're telling me is you're like, all the Lantern Corps. I want all of them. I want them all.
Yep. I told you I'm going next level on my number 2. So if I'm going any weapon, anything, I gotta go with a White Lantern ring. Obviously, like you just said, it embodies all of the Lantern powers into one.
Yes.
So you've got everything from will to rage, on and on and on. Compassion, all of it. So you combine everything, and as we've seen in comics, whether it's the Blackest Night storyline, you name it, we have seen that the White Lantern ring can do everything from create life, to resurrect the dead, to literally alter the multiverse. Pretty much anything you can think of, and you have the will to wield. You can pretty much do it.
Yeah, it's quite literally the life equation. Like you have the anti-life equation, which Darkseid is always seeking. The White Lantern ring is the life equation, which is why it could resurrect the dead.
Correct.
So you're basically like becoming a god essentially. Like one of the most famous people to wield it is obviously Kyle Rayner. I think he actually had it for the longest amount of time, if memory serves me correctly.
Right.
And it's like almost not fair. At that point, because it's like it's all of them. It's like, how do you beat that?
Yep.
Sinestro was obviously the first person to ever wield it, but it's like when you have it, it's like you said, it's like if let's say my number 1 was the Green Lantern ring, which it isn't, but if it was, it would be like so dwarfed by the White Lantern ring because it's like, yeah, I got that one plus the Red Lantern, the Sinestro Corps, the Orange Lantern, the Blue, Violet. So it's just like, dang it. But no, I completely. That would be a fantastic one to have. I mean, it's like one of the coolest, especially like galactic power weapons,
Oh yeah.
Since lanterns and stuff are essentially like space police. So very, very cool. I love that pick because I'm a fan of the Green Lantern and all that stuff. Anyway.
Yeah, we both love the Lantern Corps in general. Again, the White Lantern ring, it inadvertently or indirectly, I should say, it was even responsible for the creation of the New 52 in a way. Through Flashpoint, through the everything that went on in that storyline, it had kind of an indirect role in even creating the New 52. So it's a massively powerful weapon.
Yeah, it's crazy too because at the beginning of Rebirth and stuff like that, how they kept introducing like new rings, like you had like the ultraviolet ring and stuff like that. It's like it's one of those things where like it was a brilliant idea, but it's like I hope they don't keep like trying to one up themselves. It's like, you ready to like the White Lantern ring? That's it. That's the strongest one because you have the light and the dark. You have the black and the white lantern ring. So it's like that's it. Although I will say the ultraviolet one was pretty cool, but I think we need a few years of no new Lantern Corps.
Yeah, I think they could take a break from that pretty easily. But it doesn't matter because I have the White Lantern ring and I control it all anyway. So
yeah, whatever. Well, I will say now that I guess we can move on to both of our number 1s. My number 1 is pretty dang powerful. It's pretty powerful. This is the one, like obviously the Trident is extremely powerful, but now this one I think even kicks it up a notch, which would be the Destroyer armor, which essentially is like Mjolnir as a battle suit, but like more powerful. So imagine like you could wear Mjolnir as like knight's armor, but it's still a little more powerful than Mjolnir.
So it's like if Iron Man was imbued with Thor's power.
Kind of. Yes. Sort of, kind of.
Yeah.
No, it has like magical properties. It could do so much, like so many things. Like there's a reason why freaking Odin, Thor's papa, uses it as his battle armor because it's like the end all be all. Like it's kind of like his trump card. You know what I mean? You only see it when it's like in dire situations. So it's crazy. Plus, it's made out like a mysterious enchanted metal that's like stronger than Mjolnir, and it's just crazy. It looks awesome. It could shoot like concussive blasts. It has like it's said to have too like pieces and or properties of Celestials, which that right there tells you
Which is insane.
that this armor is said to have properties of the gods. So like, so not just like Odin, God and stuff like that, like actual like, oh, giant celestials who like run and create the universe, like those guys. So it's pretty dope. And then it's also imbued and fueled by little pieces of each of the Allfathers. Mm-hmm. So every Allfather has a piece of themselves in it. So it's kind of like passed down from generation to generation type thing, which makes it like incredibly powerful. What I'm saying is if Donny Cates puts his version of King Thor in this armor, it would be the like, if you're reading Thor, you already know like Thor has already been like the most OP he's ever been under Donny Cates' hand. Yeah. So if he was to put him in this destroyer armor, it would be like, I don't even know. I don't even like ridiculous because he was already able to defeat like the Black Winter and Galactus. So if he's in this thing, like, okay, so he could solo like everyone. Like, I don't know. Where do you go from there? Like, you can't really go anywhere.
That's like, that would be some next level stuff if he did that.
He literally
now that we said it, watch him do it.
Dude, that would be dope. I mean, it's kind of like if he's going to keep leveling up, it's like, that's the next obvious spot to go because where else can you go? And that just makes sense considering it's like that's part of Asgardian lineage, like the destroyer armor. So, I would like to see that. And if he does, you could bet we're going to bring it back to this podcast being like, see, told you.
Well, in that same vein, one of the things that I've been wondering if he was going to, you bring around at some point is one of the weapons that I was considering. It's right next to the destroyer armor, which is Odin's sword.
Oh, that's a good one too.
The Odin sword. Yeah. So I've been wondering if he's going to pull that out at some point as well.
The crazy thing, Odin wields the Odin sword in the armor. Like that's
in the armor.
Yeah. So it's almost like goes hand in hand. So I'm just saying this is a good one.
Maybe that's it. Maybe at the end that's how Thor beats his fate is he wields the destroyer armor and the Odin sword.
Dude, oh man, now I'm gonna be mad if that's not what he does.
That'd be crazy. He's like, he'll be the Knight of Asgard. That would be the last Knight of Asgard. Oh my God, I think I just wrote a new comic idea. That's right, the last Knight of Asgard.
You better copyright it.
Marvel, call me. Marvel, call me. Let's do this. I got an idea.
We know people at Marvel listen.
Crap, we're giving ideas away for free. Stop it.
All right, Tim. That's my number one. We need to know.
That is a solid number one.
Okay.
And just as in the last, as I said, I'm gonna kick it up a notch. And my number one is going to be a universe bending weapon that we're all extremely familiar with and no one will be surprised about. And it is the Infinity Gauntlet, wielding all of the Infinity soul gems, whatever you want to call them.
I see a trend with you. You like things that collect things that are individual, all of it. Like, because the Infinity Stones or gems, it's just all of them combined. Same thing with the White Lantern ring. It's all of them combined.
I gotta go full genie from Aladdin. Phenomenal cosmic power. Yeah.
And it makes sense why the Hulk's your favorite comic book character. You're all about brute strength.
There you go. Yeah.
You savage.
Well, with this one, there is some nuance, because you have to have good ideas, because you can wield anything. You can bend time and space. You can create.
You can literally do anything.
Destroy life. Yeah. You can do anything that you want with
anything.
The Infinity Gauntlet. It makes you basically an all-powerful being. So, but it's hard to. I mean, how do you have a list like this without naming the Infinity Gauntlet? It's everything.
It's pretty crazy. It's comic wise, the only thing that I think could like trump it would be the heart of the universe. But the Infinity Gauntlet's still the Infinity Gauntlet.
Yes, the Infinity Gauntlet for me was it was like not even hard to reach. I think when I really first started thinking, I was like, I even said it to my son. I was just like, well, I think the number one has to be the Infinity Gauntlet. I can't think of anything that you can wield as a weapon.
But if you snap your fingers, Tim, your arm and half your face is ruined. So you got to take the good with the bad.
Well, not if you're the Hulk. You know what I mean? Then your face is fine. Just your arm. Just your arm gets torn apart. Just your arm is jacked up. But I mean, just don't snap. Just think about things. You know what I mean? Just make a fist.
You just wouldn't alter the universe. You would just do things like bend time and stuff.
Don't wipe out all of creation. with with a stupid
Which should be a rule
snap.
of thumb either way, right?
Yeah, I think that's a good, safe, kind of golden rule that we can establish and go by is let's not wipe out creation. How about that?
Although here's the question: would you erase 2020 with a snap? What'd you do?
Oh, would you go back? If you could go back, would you kill Hitler?
You'd have the gauntlet. You could literally skip the year or get rid of it.
Well, you know what? The answer to that is no, because I think that time is precious. You know what I mean? Time is precious. So you don't get rid of 2020. You just easily wipe out the virus.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And everything else that caused 2020 to be a real downer.
Right. Yes. Yeah. You just go to the root of the problem.
Yeah. Just go to the root of the problem and just let everybody, continue.
So you're saying you have the most powerful object in the universe, and your first course of action is to go after microscopic virus.
Yeah. And then I build a Disney in Texas.
I mean, again, the world would applaud you, and I would think you absolutely that should be your first course of action with it.
At least half the country would be like, well done. You are a good and powerful guy. Well done. You are a benevolent creature.
Tim for president.
But yeah, I think all in all, I mean, just saying the Infinity Gauntlet, it's self-explanatory. It gives you the power over all of the soul gems, infinity gems, depending on whether we're talking about comics or the MCU. But it gives you control over everything from time, space, soul, all of it. And you can pretty much do anything.
Like you said, it's like an obvious one. It's like, as far as power goes, it's like, yeah, obviously.
It's like the ultimate trump card.
Right, yeah.
So pretty. Throw that down. You're like, okay, you're welcome.
So let's run it down. So my three were Elder Wand, Trident, Destroyer Armor, and you were Eye of Agamotto, White Lantern Ring, and the Infinity Gauntlet.
Boom.
That's a solid list. All those six combined, we could definitely do some damage. Or good. Yeah. Or good.
Yeah. Well, I guess it would depend on where we're talking about, me or you. Yeah. Because I think we've already established on this show that you would be evil.
No, anti-hero, okay? Just an anti-hero. All right?
Okay, well, you would be the more violent.
You got to eliminate the problem. Oh, my God. That sounds horrible.
That sounds so
horrible.
All right.
This joke has went way too far.
We need to find out. We need to send somebody to your house and make sure you're not armed at all.
It's like, oh, everyone's like, oh my God, if Arris was a comic book character, he'd be a villain. It's like, no, guys, no.
At least not in his mind.
No,
he'd be one of those villains who he thinks he's doing good. He'd be a Thanos or a Lex Luthor, where he in his mind, he's a good guy. But to everyone else, are like, oh no, we've got to get this guy out of here.
No, it's just like all comic book writers say, that the bad guys are just more fun to write because they have no limits. Like, there's a moral code you have to stand to with the heroes, but with the bad guy, you could do anything. So it's just more fun to think about.
This is a fact. There is definitely more latitude when it comes to a villain than there is with a hero.
Mm-hmm.
But, hey, it's 2020.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
But with that said, we want to know what, like, your guys, if you guys have any ideas for episodes like this, like what three, I don't know, cars would you want from the world of fiction or anything of that sort? Give us ideas and we might do a podcast
vehicles
on it.
That's actually a fun one.
Cars? You already know what my number one's going to be, though. Like, that's so obvious for me.
It's an obvious one. We actually talked about doing that for the Star Wars universe on the main channel.
Oh, that's a better one, I think.
In the past.
Because that, that one, I think people wouldn't know. Like, if we did like superhero cars or fiction cars, everyone would know number one's gonna be Batmobile for me. But if we did Star Wars vehicles, I don't think people would know what our three picks would be.
No, I don't. I don't think so either. Maybe that's something we can look at. So let us know, like Arris said.
And let me just say, the Millennium Falcon would not be my number one. It would not. No, it wouldn't.
That's a little tease right there. There you go. It's a little teaser.
That's like an obvious choice, but it would not be my number one.
So like Arris said, let us know what you guys think if you would like us to go over something like that, a franchise or universe specific topic or list. And even on the YouTube channel, that's something, like I said, we've talked about doing there. So let us know if that's something you'd be interested in. You could let us know in the comments section, or when you're, giving us a 5-star review on this wonderful podcast of ours.
Hint, hint, hint. Wink, wink, wink.
Wink, wink, wink. Go ahead and leave that in a comment there as well.
Yeah, these are always super fun. Like, because it's just, it's stuff that we always talk about even when we're not, when we don't have a mic in front of our face.
That's right. These are honestly the questions that you've been talking about since you were a kid.
100%. Yes.
Like, what superpower would you have? What weapon would you want from comics?
We can go real kitty and be like, if you could have any girlfriend from fiction or comic books, who would it be? Who are your top 3 to be your girlfriend?
Oh man, I don't even know how to answer that.
Dude, I was all about B-Taz Catwoman growing up. Yes, right?
B-Taz
That's right. I had a crush on a cartoon woman. I don't even care.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know where I would go with that. And considering I want to stay married, it's probably best that I don't go too far down that road.
On that note, guys.
Yeah, there you go.
With that said, everyone.
Before Tim gets himself in any further trouble.
So, with that said, we'll see you next time when we talk about all things comics.